Welcome to the Deep Dive, your express ticket to truly understanding the core of complex topics. Today, we're not just dipping our toes in, we're taking a full plunge into a foundational piece of American literature. Get ready, because we're about to unpack one of the most debated and celebrated novels ever written. Okay, let's unpack this. We're diving deep into Mark Twain's monumental and, often provocative work, The Adventures of Huckleberry Finn, first published back in 1884. This book isn't just old, it's like a living commentary on American society that, still sparks conversation. Our sources for this deep dive, well, it's a mix, detailed summaries, some critical analyses, gives us a pretty robust overview, and our mission is really to extract the most insightful nuggets, the plot, the powerful themes, and why it still matters. This is kind of your shortcut to not just knowing about Huck Finn, but really getting why it remains such a crucial read, full of surprising facts, insights, cutting through the noise.
And it's a great text for that kind of mission. We hear masterpiece thrown around a lot, but for Huck Finn, yeah, it's absolutely warranted. This isn't just a classic. It's often called the great American novel. Really foundational. Captures the soul of pre-Civil War America. And it's also a sequel, right, to The Adventures of Tom Sawyer, but much darker, much more complex.
Definitely darker.
Twain takes us from, boys' games to these really deep moral questions. The critical acclaim was huge, established its place, though, yeah, often controversial.
So let's set the scene. St. Petersburg, Missouri. Seems sleepy, right? This is where we meet Huck Finn again. We know him from Tom Sawyer. But here, well, his life is anything but idyllic. He's living under the really strict and brutal control of his father, Pap, abusive alcoholic.
Yeah, it's a grim picture.
Imagine that environment for a kid. Fear, instability, constant. So Huck is understandably just deeply frustrated. Hates the restrictions of what he called kind of sarcastically civilized life.
Right, chafing against the rules, the expectations.
And his home life, of course. It's not just teen rebellion. It's this deep need for real freedom, autonomy. It gets so bad he does something pretty drastic. Ingenious, really. He fakes his own death.
Like a full crime scene setup.
Exactly. And escapes. It's such a bold move for a boy his age. Sets the tone right away, self-reliance, daring.
And what's truly fascinating here is how that act, faking his death, it immediately sets up this huge theme of freedom. It works on multiple levels.
Yeah.
Well, it's not just freedom from Pap, the physical abuse. It's also this deeper escape from, societal rules, the hypocrisy Huck already senses.
Ah, right. The civilized life he dislikes.
Exactly. So this escape, it's also an escape from his identity within that society. It's like a symbolic rebirth.
Yeah.
Kicks off his whole quest for self-determination.
And pretty soon after that escape, his path crosses with someone else who's also desperate for freedom. He runs into Jim, a runaway slave, seeking freedom from actual legal slavery.
And this isn't just some random meeting. It's the pivotal encounter. Changes both their lives, changes the whole story.
Totally. And almost right away, driven by this shared need, though, different kinds of need. They team up. They get on a raft together, start this huge journey down the Mississippi River.
And the river, it's more than just scenery.
Oh, definitely. It's like a character itself.
Yeah.
A path, symbolic and real, away from danger, towards some idea of freedom.
It's important to see the river's dual nature, though. Yes, it's a path away, potential freedom, but it's also incredibly dangerous. Constant peril.
Right.
It's this kind of in-between space, not really safe, not totally free. It perfectly mirrors how precarious their whole situation is. Freedom isn't just a place you get to, it's this constant navigation.
Yeah, good point. And their journey, it's definitely not a peaceful flow trip. It is packed with dangerous adventures, moral tests, running into all sorts of people. The ugly side of humanity, often.
The river just sort of delivers them these encounters.
Exactly. They meet this gallery of rogues and get into some really tricky spots. Maybe the most famous are those con men, right? The ones calling themselves the Duke and the King.
Oh, yeah. Classic characters.
Total master manipulators. Always trying to scam people. Fake shows, crazy schemes.
Huck and Jim get dragged into it unwillingly.
Yeah, and it exposes them to just how greedy and gullible people can be. Like that Royal Nunsuch show they put on.
Hilarious and awful.
Right. A ridiculous, short, basically scandalous play. But it tricks a whole town out of their money. Shows you how easily civilized folks can be fooled.
And that's where Twain's satire is just razor sharp.
Yeah.
He uses the Duke and King not just for laughs, but to criticize society. Their scams reveal all the corruption, the hypocrisy, the kind of intellectual laziness in these towns along the river.
Mm.
The civilized people Huck's trying to escape often turn out to be way more immoral than Huck and Jim, the runaways. Really makes you wonder who the actual villains are.
Yeah, it does. And beyond the Duke and King, they also run into like these feuding families.
The Grangerfords and Shepherdsons, pointless violence.
It's exactly. And dangerous stuff on the river itself,
Yeah.
steamboat wrecks, things like that. Plus, just constant deception from townspeople. But while all that external chaos is happening, Huck's dealing with this huge internal conflict right at the heart of the book. He struggles big time with his conscience about helping Jim.
Because society's message is crystal clear.
Totally. Jim is property. That's it. Chattel. Needs to be returned. And that idea, it's so deeply ingrained, but it clashes with Huck's actual experience with Jim.
And this is where the book just becomes so important, so groundbreaking. It forces this question on Huck and on us. What do you do when your own sense of right clashes with what society, with what the law tells you is right? He's wrestling with these huge moral dilemmas. Legality versus, basic human morality, helping Jim escape. Is it legal? No. Is it right?
And this is all happening against that backdrop of pre-Civil War America. Slavery wasn't just accepted, it was law, enforced, harsh penalties.
Yeah. So Huck's struggle isn't just personal. It's like a miniature version of the huge moral pressure everyone faced when dealing with these awful, unjust rules.
Okay, here's where it gets really interesting. Because all these struggles, the adventures, they all feed into the major themes. The stuff that gives this book its power, why we still talk about it. Let's dig into those. First, maybe the biggest one, freedom.
Absolutely central.
Both Huck and Jim are searching for it desperately. But, different kinds of freedom. Huck wants out from civilized life, the rules, the abuse.
While Jim needs actual emancipation, freedom from being owned.
Right. Their whole journey together is about pursuing that self-determination, often against every single force trying to stop them.
And that search for freedom, it leads right into the next big theme. Moral conscience versus society. This is Huck's whole journey, really, is moral growth.
Yeah.
We see him struggle so much, this gap between what society teaches, which includes, the idea that helping Jim is a symptom, saving him to hell, and what his personal morality dictates, what his gut tells him, based on knowing Jim as a person.
Like that famous moment.
Exactly. When he writes the letter to turn Jim in, and then he thinks about Jim, their friendship, and he said, all right, then I'll go to hell. Tears up the letter.
So powerful.
It's huge. He chooses his own sense of right, even thinking it means eternal damnation, over what society taught him. It shows how basic humanity can win out over these ingrained, terrible social rules. He's forging his own ethics.
Right. And as they're dealing with these huge moral questions and all the danger, another theme really comes through strongly, one that just smashes the social rules of the time. Friendship.
Yeah, the bond between them.
Despite all the racism, the prejudice, this deep, real connection forms between Huck and Jim. It's so significant because it directly challenges those prejudices.
It's not just convenient for them to be together.
No. It grows into real trust, respect. They rely on each other. Their friendship is central. It crosses race. It crosses class in a way that was almost unthinkable then. Jim becomes like a father figure, a real friend to Huck.
Exactly. And by showing us this friendship, Twain is directly taking on racism and slavery. He doesn't pull punches. He uses the story to expose the hypocrisy, the cruelty, the dehumanizing effect of it all, of slavery, of the racism in 19th century America.
We see it through Jim's eyes, too.
We do. Jim's fears, his hopes for his family. It makes the human costs so clear. Twain shows the absurdity of a society claiming to be moral while doing something so inhumane. It's stark, uncomfortable, but vital, forces us to look at it.
And Twain uses his wit, his sharp eye, to criticize society more broadly, too. Which brings us to satire and social criticism.
He's a master satirist.
Totally. He uses the novel to poke fun at, well, everything. Corruption, greed, fake piety, prejudice.
Those feuding families who don't even remember why they're fighting.
Right. Or the religious meetings. He holds up a mirror, makes you laugh, but makes you think, too. Even the way he uses dialect, right?
Yeah.
It's not just color, it's commentary on class and background.
Definitely. And if you connect all these dots, the freedom quest, the moral struggle, the friendship, the satire, it all comes together in Huck's transformation. His friendship with Jim, getting to know him as a human being, helps him see Jim's worth way beyond society's racist labels. It shows how personal connection can break down prejudice. And it leads to that huge moment where Huck just rejects the rules of civilized society, decides to follow his own moral compass no matter the cost. It's an amazing act of individual integrity.
So what about the book's legacy? I mean, it's huge, considered a masterpiece, right? Reshaped the American novel.
Undeniably, it's studied, debated, loved, precisely because it tackles these tough themes head on.
But it's also controversial.
Hugely controversial, still is, mostly because of the depiction of race and specifically the repeated use of the N-word.
Yeah, that's a big ongoing debate.
It is. Leads to arguments about whether it should be taught in schools, its suitability. Some say the language is just too offensive now. Others argue that changing or banning it ignores the history, ignores Twain's actual point, which was to show how ugly racism was.
Right.
But even with the controversy, it's still so significant because it is a powerful critique and it is a celebration of someone finding their own morality, of human connection beating prejudice. It makes us confront history, confront language. That's why it lasts. It demands engagement.
So tying this all together, what does it mean for us now? In our world, these themes, freedom, conscience versus society, friendship and prejudice, they still hit home, don't they?
Absolutely, they resonate deeply.
Huck Finn isn't just history. It makes you question our norms, our biases, forces us to look at our own moral compass. It feels just as relevant today, maybe more so.
Urges us to look past the surface.
So as we kind of wrap up this deep dive, just think out that journey. Huck and Jem on the raft. Started as escape, right? From abuse, from slavery. But it became something much bigger. A shared search for dignity, for humanity, for real freedom. Their relationship, built on that river, it's like a small light showing what's possible when we see past prejudice.
Yeah, that journey down the Mississippi, it's not just geography. It's this deep dive into being human, being free. It challenges us to look past what society tells us, past our own ingrained biases, and find the humanity in each other, especially when society pushes back. The river keeps flowing, and so does this whole conversation about what real freedom looks like.
And maybe that leaves us with a final thought for you to kind of chew on. How often do we, maybe like Huck initially, just let society's expectations or maybe just the pressure from our own groups dictate our morality without really thinking? What would it take for us, for you, to really follow your own moral compass, to make that kind of, all right, then I'll go to hell choice, even if it means swimming against the current? And what does real freedom, personal and societal, actually look like when you strip away all the easy answers? Something to think about until our next deep dive.